Now, the topic we have today is on first-time buyers. Now, we have Imran with me and Darren. So, they are the experts as well. And we will put together whatever that you want to hear. And hopefully you can comment down in the comment section below if you have anything that you are unaware of or you want to actually learn more about. So, let's get started. Yeah, so today we are going to be talking about first-time buyers, and I think this is a very important topic because your first home defines your future. It is literally the next 30 years of your life that I feel that will be affected, and how you make your decision today will definitely be how you actually are when you are 65. So Darren's actually going to get the ball rolling. I think like you have some things that you want to talk about because your client actually asked you a question very interesting.
Yeah, that's right. I met a client yesterday. And he was asking like, hey, after listening to my explanation on why is the first property so important for them to start off, their investment purchase or even for their first home, and they wanted to go into private property, but they were saying that because they're in their late 20s, they don't have their 25%. So they're saying, but hey, then what should I go ahead? Should I go ahead to get HDB resale or should I go for a BTO? What are your thoughts?
I think this is a very big problem that a lot of buyers are facing today because this stems down from actually our entire generation, people my age, the ages 27, 25. We have this big problem. Every one of us took time for granted from the ages 20 to the ages 30. All of us do that. Correct. We completely did not save for anything. We assumed that this is the life that we're going to live. We're going to have that LV bag, buy that Gucci shoe, go for that holiday, live life. You're like,
live in the moment.
Yeah, when Darren, be in the moment. I hate that. So, I think that the reason why all of us are being in the moment, we just forget that housing and buying your first home is so important to save for the moment you start working. Whether in school, this is where you already got to put aside some form of funds that actually will add up. Even the little things, I think that many people do not realize actually in the long run makes a lot. And I think that 25% is not something any consultant can magically help you appear, but it stems from the habits that you build from the start. That's the most important thing. Not taking time for granted and starting to save early. And for those who have not, and you unfortunately are in that position, you need to start looking at either somebody like a sugar daddy or somebody who can help you, like your mama and papa, to help you actually finance that, or you gotta look for alternative options. If you can't afford a private property today because you do not have the 5% cash, what are some of the options that you can actually go into?
Talking about options, I had a client that was asking me, he went through the same issue. So unfortunately he didn't have financial backing from parents or family members or friends. So he wanted to go into HDB as any other Singaporean would. So his question he posed was, he had a BTO queue number. Should he go ahead and apply for a BTO, or should he consider other resale options in regards to HDB?
I think how old are your customers?
Probably in the range of 27 to 30. I think the wife was 27, the husband was 29, 30.
Alright, I think a lot of people excuse me, a lot of people go into the BTO phase because it's something that every Singaporean is saying. Parents will always tell you, hey, your first property you must always get a HDB first, be it BTO or resale.
Correct.
A BTO is perfectly fine because they are going into and getting it brand new. But unfortunately, because of all the new measures today, getting a BTO means that you got to have a building time to wait out, right? And right now they do scale back in the building time, but on average it's still about 3 years. Yeah. So if he's 30 years old, he will be able 30 years, so he can get the keys to his property when he's 33, right? He has a minimum occupation period, which is MOP, which is 5 years.
Right.
So the time that is eligible to actually go into the private property market or sector, it'll be when he's already 38 years old.
Right.
So two limitations that you got to think about is number one, because of the tenure given to you for borrowing for your next property, when you are 38, you cannot enjoy 30 years anymore.
That's right.
You can only borrow 27 years.
Yeah.
And what does this mean? It impacts them because their borrowing power has shrunk. Means to say their purchasing power has shrunk too. This is number one. But number two is, before they go into a BTO or a resale flat, have they thought about how are they going to move to their second property? What do I mean by that? Is your customer getting a loan for their property? They are, right? So if they're taking a loan for a property, to enjoy the next property, they have to pay two things. One, they must pay the 12% ABSD plus the normal BSD of 3%. Correct. So that being said, for a 1 million property that they're going to upgrade to the next phase of their life, or if they intend to keep the HDB property, right? They have to come out with 25% plus the 15% stamp duties. This is the first thing they have to think about. Second thing they must have to think about is that if they have an outstanding loan, are they able to down 55%?
Because that's the requirement to take a second loan, correct?
Exactly. They can only borrow 45%. So, but if they plan it right, okay, they are still able to do that and be able to take a 75% loan if they could think of buying their first property using one name instead of two names. And this is very little knowledge on the ground that people know, that they could actually buy a HDB property using one person's name. But many of us add on two names. So what happens is that the second person could just be an essential occupier. And this frees up that person's name to buy the second property.
So after 5 years, technically, the essential occupier has no name in the property. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. He has no name, number one. And number two, he also has no loans under the person's name.
And they'll change a lot of things.
Or that will change amazing because they could monetize their HDB property, for example. Yeah.
Correct.
I think this is very good good knowledge that the people could benefit from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel that I'm going to share a bit of perspective here. This is for all those people out there who really have absolutely no money, really want to get the space, you want to have a HDB. Now, Darren, this is something that you can share with your clients. Like, to me, do you believe in what we suffer today is important so that we can enjoy the next?
I would use the word suffer. I think it's more
feel
a little bit of uncomfortable,
right?
Yeah,
so this is what I urge every one of you out there who give this excuse that you don't have money because you decided not to save, right? So you are going to feel a bit of a discomfort in the next 5 years. But what you can do is buy that HDB. Buy it if you can under one name, if you can't, two names. Buy it next to an MRT. Alright? Rent out both your common bedrooms. Buy a 4-room flat, rent out both your common bedrooms, tell your client that. Live in the master bedroom for 5 years. Alright? Set up a joint account, husband and wife. If you're buying a loan, then so be it, in your own account. And do not touch that rental money for a good 5 years. Pay every single cent of your mortgage, your principal, in cash. Let your CPF roll up and do not touch that as well. And then come back to me in 5 years and you would see you would have at least a good 200 to 300k in both CPF and cash. Maybe you're 27, you're 28. So when you're 33, you still have that chance. The golden year is 35, ladies and gentlemen. So you still have about 3 more years after that. Sell off the HDB, cash out all the cash you took out, and move to a private property from there. At least you suffer for all the enjoyment you had and when you were being in the moment for that last 20 years. You see, you get now it's time for you to work a little bit and feel a bit of pain, but trust me, your next 30 years will be something that you can actually enjoy the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Can you give me just a bit of a rough gauge? How do you come up with 200-300k? Okay,
so like if you were to buy a 4-room flat around 450k, your monthly mortgage should be about 1,006 to 1,007, around there.
That's if you're taking a full
loan, a full HDB loan,
HDB loan,
right? Now, because of that, every month from your principal, you're putting in about $900 to $1,000 or more.
All right.
And the rest goes to interest, right? That principal comes back to you because you're putting money into the HDB.
Okay. All right.
Number one. Number two, your CPF, because you're not using it, it is being the accrued interest is rolling within the account, right? And that builds up every month. Assuming you have an income of about $6,000 and above, then that's 1,200 or 1,260 that will be rolling every month in compound interest, right?
Yeah.
So that forms X amount of dollars. Based on my calculation I did for one of my clients who decided to follow this, at the end of 5 years he would have about $72,000, right?
That's just for the CPF, right?
No, just for the principal.
Already.
Yeah. So we don't even talk about the CPF.
Yeah.
72,000 plus. Let's assume that 1,200 a month is the amount that you're using the principal. Is also the amount that you're getting from 2 common bedrooms, right?
All right.
2 common bedrooms would mean that it is 72,000 as well. About that, 70 to 75,000. I mean, let's make it even 60,000 because you actually have cost involved in rental, vacancy period as well, right?
Okay.
60,000 plus 72 is already at around 130,000 plus your CPF. That easily amounts to way above 200,000, which can be the minimum down payment of $1 million property.
Fair enough.
All right.
In total cash and CPF that you would have. So that's somewhere where you can start if that is the only option available to you and you really can't find money. Go for that.
But I think this is very. I think this is a great. I think this is a good advice. But asking a couple or a Singaporean couple to pay their installments in cash and not to utilize a CPF in an account.
Wow, that's the most difficult thing. But I think Iman
It's very tough.
Yeah, Iman had a client that he actually managed to explain, right? Why is it better to pay in cash?
Yeah. I mean, the explanation.
Because I really struggle with that.
Correct.
Yeah.
The explanation is when we tell our clients, especially when I tell my clients, it is it's clear cut that using cash to pay for your monthly installment is always the better way to go. Reason being, your CPF, the interest that you accrue of 2.5% compounding, will be paid by the government to your account. So, in layman terms, the government is actually helping you save for your future property, right?
Yeah.
But the challenge is a lot of people, they don't have the amount of money to down every month for the monthly installment.
All right.
Yeah. And it's painful. So I actually suggested a lot of them to start small first. So to go to pay, let's say if the monthly mortgage 50%. Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So
Because then it's more manageable in that sense.
Right.
All right.
So and I urge a lot of them, instead of taking a HDB loan, to actually go and take a bank loan. So the main objections are that banks' interest rate is always fluctuating, and then looking at the interest rate as of today is already close to HDB's interest rate. So if it's not going down, then it's going higher, even higher than that, and there's a cause of concern. Yeah. So me being a guy that likes to work with numbers, I actually did a calculation based on their entire loan amount and their entire interest that they will pay in the event they take the maximum loan and pay off the maximum loan by the time they complete their tenure. So we realized that the effective interest year on year is actually not even past 2%. So with them saving their CPF money, which is compounding at 2.5%, and taking a bank loan, which also, by the way, if viewers out there you don't know, will not restrict you to wipe off your entire CPF account when you do the purchase. So if that's compounding.
Sorry, what do you mean by what doesn't wipe off your entire CPF?
So a little nugget is that HDB, they require you to wipe off all your CPF account in all your CPF monies in your OA and leave a maximum of 20,000 per applicant. Right? If you take a bank loan, it is not necessary to wipe off. So let's say if your down payment of 25%, it's only if you are buying a $500,000 property, 25% would be roughly about 125,000.
All right.
And 20% will be coming up in your CPF. And let's say if you got excess in your OA account, you do not have to wipe off everything.
Okay. Yeah. Did you know I had a customer that did that 20,000? I think when we read from the papers, we thought that if we could keep 20,000 per person, but I think recently someone just told me that it's actually 20% per household.
20%?
20,000 per household.
Oh, is it?
It means to say it's only 10,000 per person.
Oh.
Yeah, I initially also thought it was 20,000 per person, so that I could actually keep a crisis fund for them, right? A crisis fund for them, like emergency fund of 40k per household.
Correct.
If they take a HDB loan, which was a great incentive at the time.
Correct.
But unfortunately, it was actually 20,000 per household.
Yeah. Which makes it even worse.
We had to verify the idea. I just got this information this morning.
So let's take the best case scenario, like 40,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had probably about $200,000 in your CPF account, wiping off everything and then compounding it, and then you calculate the compound interest that you will end up having to pay yourself back once you dispose of the property. It's actually quite a large amount. In the event you do choose to sell a property after 5 years, you actually face a lot of problems that a lot of our customers are facing now, which is negative sale, whereby your CPF monies plus the interest is plus your outstanding loan is way above the selling price that you can actually achieve. Which then results you to losing a lot of your money that you could have earned if it was in your CPF.
So basically, all that cash that you put in initially will just
be
gone down the drain because
but
of the CPF.
I think it's very difficult for people to accept this. Very difficult. Number one, you're asking me, hey guys, you're telling me that you want me to use a minimal CPF to pay for my house. Okay, I can get that maybe because alright, I'm going to keep some for a crisis fund if I take a bank loan. But hey, bank loan, I will come out 5% cash.
Yeah.
Why should I do that? I could use that money for renovation, number one. Right. Number two, you're asking me to not use my CPF for my monthly payments and use cash, but that's cash I could use on a monthly basis.
Oh, okay.
Because it doesn't really matter to me. Whatever money that I use in my CPF, right? I owe myself the money, but ultimately, isn't it my money, guys?
Correct. I completely agree. So the way that they are able to do this, how my clients are able to do it, is they monetize their property, right? So they buy a forum HDB, for example, like your example. They rent out both their bedrooms, okay, which amounts to, in my case, it's 600 per bedroom, so it's about 1,200.
All right.
Their monthly repayment per month is about 1,600. Okay. So the shortfall will be $400. That $400 will come out from their CPF. So in other words, is that they don't come out any additional cash from their own pocket to put into their property.
Also, basically, it is quite you customize different solutions for people.
Exactly.
Chick was saying that hey, you should actually be saving this money then for the next 5 years. But if a person that chooses to take your path, isn't it that the exit strategy to move on to a private property is going to be longer?
Definitely longer.
Definitely.
But more comfortable.
Yeah. Because we have to address that each of our customers have different risk appetite.
Hang on. What do you mean by more comfortable? Which is more comfortable?
Because they don't have to come out. Because for Imran's case, maybe their income is not as strong, and 1,008 is it? 1,600 is something that is not easily accepted in full cash. Even as a couple, $800, maybe you have a couple of kids, then your cash flow is very tight. So Imran's leveraging off the property to pay, at the same time reducing the break even, as compared to my approach where it's just very extreme, because time is very important. And I believe you shared the other day with one of the clients, you were telling me that how important time was, right? Like in terms of loan age. Yeah, because I can't seem to get people to understand why is it that the golden year is actually 35, and I think that many people out there need to know that.
Because for the banks, for MES, what they're doing is that your loan tenure for any properties, okay, for HDB is straightforward, you don't get 30 years, it's a flat 25 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. For private properties, you can borrow up to 30 years, of which is up to 65 years old.
Okay.
Why is the golden age 35 years? Because just nice, you have 35 plus 30 is 65.
So what happens to a person who is actually in their 40s, like mid-40s, 45?
All right.
How big a difference are we talking about in terms of loan and repayment?
Okay.
Because I think many people don't know this.
I was working these sums on my own, and there's only 2 ways to beat this issue. 2 ways.
Oh.
Number one, they got to really make a lot of money. Means to say that because you have to beat this system, to beat this system, number one, if I'm 45 years old, so guess what? First, I got to do a TDS. A TDS is 60% of my income, right? And now, instead of 30 years, I can only borrow for how many years? 20 years. So for me to enjoy the same loan quantum that I could enjoy when I'm 35, which was 10 years before, I have to, number one, bump up my income to be a large income. Or second, I have a huge or a bigger capital outlay to get a smaller loan to enjoy the same property type.
Which means a bigger down payment in that
Exactly.
sense. Okay.
So you're talking if that what is the affordability of a person who is 35 years old buying a 1.2 million property versus the affordability level of a person who's 45 buying a 1.2 million property. Right? If they're both earning the same income, who has a better borrowing power?
The
younger one. But so for the same property type that the 45 wants to do, of course, over the past 10 years, you get accumulated more cash and CPF, means to say that they will not then borrow 75%. They only borrow 60% and down more.
But then they still won't be able to leverage off the banks.
They could, but small leverage, 60%.
Exactly. So you couldn't leverage as much.
That's right. Yeah, but the sad thing is that if they could borrow the same amount, guys, what happens is that the 45-year-old is going to be very scared and risk averse because the monthly payment is going to be so much higher than the person who's 35.
And of course, their liabilities are a lot higher at the age of 45 because of kids and.
Yeah, I think the risk level will come down.
Risk level also.
Yeah.
Risk appetite in that sense will come down.
Correct. But you know, what about grants?
Yeah.
Do you know people are saying that, hey, if I don't buy a resale, I've lost out as a Singaporean. I do not get my grants, and now the government is giving so many grants. Previously, in the old days when I was doing this business, there was only one grant. Then there was a second grant, and now they could get 3 to 4 grants, isn't it?
Yeah.
And hey, if I buy a 4-room flat today, I'm going to get so much grants on the table. Isn't it? I'm not missing out. I'm losing out these grants. I'm naming my parents. I got 20k. Why should I not enjoy this now? Isn't it my birthright as a Singaporean?
I think grants are bad. I think if you don't need the money, ladies and gentlemen, don't take it. You don't need it because if you have the ability to loan the entire amount, why take the grant? To offset what? It is only going to make your life harder in the future. We cannot run from the fact that lease is king. Am I right, Imran?
Correct.
You know, maybe let's talk about lease first, and then we can go back to why is it that taking a CPF grant will affect you. Okay. Like, I think that lease is bad. Do you agree with that?
Lease
degrading is bad. It affects your property price, right? So
in that sense, it's bad. Yes.
You know, if that's the case, then is it wrong to say that a HDB is no longer an appreciating asset?
Yeah.
Fair,
much.
right? So if a HDB is no longer an appreciating asset, it means that eventually, like what we spoke about earlier, what you were sharing earlier, the CPF accrued interest is going to overtake the price of the property, the valuation of the property. So the more CPF you use, the less cash you get back, right? And in today's world, at a quantum of 400k and above, there is going to be cash that you're putting in. Your CPF will not be enough to cover the full mortgage, right?
All right.
Like for most majority of the average Singaporean, someone who's living in Tampines, you know, anybody with like about 6k, they will have to come up with cash. Now, if that's the case, this cash is not something that you're going to get back. You see, it's hard-earned cash from your own pocket. Now, yes, you enjoy the grant today. Yes, it's fantastic. You get more than 70,000 and above if like just for an average Singaporean buying a 4-room. You know, not including AHG, right? 70k is really nice. You know, including the one near the parents. Now, what is the downfall of that? All that money that you put in, if you do the math, it's a lot more than that grant. and everything's going to come back into the CPF. If you are okay with paying your agent 2% commission out of your own pocket rather than your house, please take the grant.
But see, this is the argument on the ground, right?
Yeah.
I buy a property at 450k.
Yeah.
Right? I get grants of $70,000.
Yeah.
If I sell it at 400 in 5 years' time, I make money.
That is if you buy a really, really young property. And where can you find today a young 5-year-old property?
Or let's say I take your word for it and say I like what you're saying. I buy a property which is near a rentable location at 450. Immediately I have this grant is given to me by the government. It's money that I can lose. It doesn't matter. But what if it goes up? Or what if the price is the same?
Important question.
They shouldn't just buy the HDB.
Iman, would you like to share what's happening in Bedok right now?
I feel that to address this, we first need to address how the grants are given. Because in your example, in the event the grant is just to offset the purchase price. So that means you're buying a property at 450 and then you're only paying or taking a loan or down paying of an actual price of 380, right, after the grant. Then I think it is possibly fair enough for somebody to take a grant, right? However, that's not the case. Why? Because how grants work in terms of resale purchases is that the amount of grant that you take, for example 70k, it will first be deposited into your CPF account just before the purchase is over. HDB will then take it out from your CPF account. So what does this mean? Who is actually paying for this 70k? Is it CPF or is it your own account? So when it comes out from your own account, we just spoke about this like a couple of minutes ago, accrued interest immediately sets in. To your point, if the price stay at 450, when you sell, does that mean that it's only your accrued interest that you have been paying month to month till the time you sell? Or is it month to month plus the 70k?
Okay.
So once you add that 70k plus your month to month CPF usage to pay for your monthly installment, how much do you have to return to your CPF plus the accrued interest plus your outstanding loan?
So are you saying that it could be in a possible scenario that if I buy a 450k property today, alright, I don't listen to your advice, okay, I find that you guys, whatever you're saying, you're just bluffing me, I do all, I buy 450, I'm going to take on a full grant that I have with my spouse, I'm going to buy under 2 names, I'm going to spend money on renovation, the house that I like, and you're telling me that 5 years later, for me to even sell at the same price, or the break even to return back to my loans and all my CPF that I owe is going to be over $550,000?
I think that
$550,000.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I cannot consider the price that you sell because I can't tell the future, right?
No, I'm talking about my break even. Are you saying that if I at 450, whatever I use in my CPF, because right now the 70k is coming in, I put in my they wipe out all my account with $100,000, so I start off with maybe almost close to 150 to 180k CPF usage from day one. Are you saying that for me to break even with the loans that I'm taking in 5 years time, it could be in the region of 550?
Very possible.
I think.
And now your question is to ask me is that the house that I buy today at 450, is it going to appreciate to 550 next time?
Exactly.
If I sell it at 550, I still do not take back a single cash.
So
it's all CPF, is it?
So what I feel is that anyone who does that is clearly underestimating the power of compound interest.
I think a lot of people don't understand the meaning of compound interest.
I do. I think that maybe you want to share on that. Because your mathematics, I've known for the longest time, has been the best.
I think our viewers should just do one thing.
Download
the compound interest app.
If you're listening today, download the compound
Google Play, Apple Play Store, whatever, Apple Store, go and download the compound interest, put in the amount of CPF you're going to use, put 1260 if your income is above 6,000. If not, figure out how much is going into your OA and see for yourself the nightmare you will face in 5 years.
I believe if you are seeing a lot of us, when we go into our CPF accounts, everybody says the same thing. Wow, I don't know my OA got so much. Right?
Yeah.
Now if you look at the same amount in your property usage, You probably say the same thing. Wow, I didn't know I spent so much also. Because it's
Yeah.
really, it can compound and amount to an extremely large amount.
Yeah, so I think it's good for the viewers to understand that it's good because CPF, being a CPF, this platform is really good for them to enjoy a compound interest. I mean, guys, if the banks have such a platform, people will be queuing out to put their money inside there. If you guarantee a 2.5%,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
They will just leave all the savings there.
Correct.
Alright, so it's something you can think about. But next thing I want to ask you is that, do you know you have customers asking us this question? Hey, I hear you. I'm going to monetize my house. I'm going to buy it near MRT cluster. I intend to buy it only under one name, and I'm going to move on to my private property later. This is my plan. I'm going to save every single rental that I receive. I can put it back. Maybe I'll start off with 50% first in my installments with cash, and then the rest via CPF, and I'll slowly build it up maybe in the next 1 or 2 years to try to meet 100%. Because I believe that it is good to be a little bit uncomfortable today to enjoy the fruits in future, right?
Yeah.
Now, and they come to you and say that I want to buy an EA, I want to buy a 5-room flat. What are you going to say to them?
I think I'll ask why.
I love space.
Yeah.
So
Because
I would say size does not matter.
Yeah, you see, if today Bigori has to plan for uncertain times, right? So if I buy a property under my name, right, for me and my wife, I own HDB property. I do go ahead and buy my investment property 5 years later. But guess what? If things don't go my way, if I sell my private property next time, I can always go back to my 4-room flat.
Okay.
Right? So the question is now, is there a particular model or size a couple should look into, or should they buy a higher price tag property?
If I firmly believe that they should find the smallest available 4-room flat that they can buy. Why is because they need to understand the intention of this property first, right? It's number one, a stepping stone for their next private purchase. And if you're gonna put, and we all know that HDB is an asset that will be extremely difficult to appreciate, right? So if you're gonna put a big investment, which is a 5-room or EA, and still have the same amount of rooms to rent out, and still follow the same amount of regulations that you can only rent out to a specific number of people, which is 6, including the people that stay inside, then don't you think your yield is a lot lesser, number one, and your cost for this stepping stone is also a lot greater?
I mean, what are you honestly even paying for a 5-room and a 4-room?
Correct.
How much is the difference? A walk-in balcony, is it really important?
A walk-in what?
A walk-in balcony in most of the 5 rooms. Is it really very important?
I thought you were say walk-in wardrobe, man.
Can your entire generation live in that balcony, please? You are not paying for a lot of space for a 5-room and a 4-room. So be prudent with your purchase. I think that is something that a lot of people do not understand. They are looking at the now again and again and again.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement.
Okay lah.
Maybe an EA. Okay, fine. I get it.
EA and a 5-room, you cannot deny that it's a lot bigger than a 4-room.
Yeah.
But I think you always got to boil back down to why are you buying this in the first place?
Yeah.
If you have no aspirations of moving up in terms of upgrading yourself to a bigger property, to a better property, then by all means, if you can afford EA, do it. But don't say that we didn't want you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the worry that I have is that EA today is going to cost around, in the East, $650 to
Easily.
$700,000.
Easily, yeah. That's right.
So my question always is, how are they going to exit?
Correct.
The second owners who bought it in 08 bought it at about $350.
Yeah.
Right? The customer that we met, was it $350? At Street 24?
Yeah, Street 24. Yeah.
It was $350,
that,
right?
yeah.
$350.
Correct.
And now she's asking us to market it for about $680. So to me is that the buyers that buy this property, if they are from the M block market, that's fair and good because they've already made money from the M block, right? But for a first time or upgrader is moving from 4-room to executive, what are the chances of this property they are going to even sell at the same price 10 years from today?
Correct.
Or are they even going to see appreciation in the property? Or are they going to spend the next 25 years just paying it off?
I think,
and the worst thing is in 25 years, when they're already maybe in their mid 50s to late 50s, when they find that the value of property is not what it is anymore, can they plan for the next housing?
I got a question for you. I mean, you've been in industry for such a long time. Maybe you can actually share with the people, why is it that the government created such big flats initially, and why it won't be of the same demand today? And I think that is the reason why it will appreciate much faster than most of the 4-room flats. Like, why is it that it's no longer the case anymore that they are building such big flats?
Oh, I think it's very simple. This answer this question is that you ask yourself, Sheikh, how many uncles do you have? And aunties?
10.
I have
How many?
12.
I have 10.
How many brothers and sisters do you have now?
1.
So this answers your questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can I say that the demand for a bigger flat is going to grow down even greater in the next 10 years?
I think the demand for bigger flats, yes, because of affordability level. I think the demand for bigger properties, for people that can afford, they'll be going to the landed sector to own the landed property.
Yeah.
Even if you go on to the condominiums today, because of affordability, people are getting more knowledgeable today. They're meeting people today, and they know that, hey, buying even at a low per square feet property for a huge size property, it does not mean that I can exit at the same price that I buy today. It's so risky because the people who are buying the properties today are all the new generations. So I think every buyer that buys a property today got to ask himself, who is going to be their buyers in the future?
Okay.
It's not going to be my parents. Is it going to be me? I don't know. All right, but the buyers that are going to buy today are all the young couples. And they should ask themselves, what are the young couples looking for? Are the young couples looking for a big size property today? Or are they looking for something which is an effective use of space that doesn't give them so much risk in terms of taking their first property?
Yeah.
Right?
Just to highlight on that, I had a customer like a couple of weeks back who met me to ask me a few questions about how to plan. She's not ready to buy yet, but she's looking to buy in about 3 years. She's about my age, about 24.
Well, that's great. She's already planning now.
Yeah. So, and she told me her dream property was a studio. So, I think
new.
Yeah, I think
That's because she hasn't got a partner yet, right?
but it just shows you that the new generation now, they don't really focus that much on space.
I think for
Really?
people like people of the age group, it's really great. I really advocate this, that everyone should really work towards getting their first property, right? It's really something that you really think about, and they can start as early as when she's 24, getting a first purchase at 25, 26, and if their parents can afford it, even though they are not getting married anytime soon, they're single, I think they should just put the money into property, buy the correct one, all right, lease it out, or wait for capital returns. Instead of most Singaporeans would be, I have some money in the bank, I have some money in CPF, but no, I want to wait and see and buy my first HDB with my partner. But actually, they themselves today are able to buy their own property, and why not? Yeah. Yeah.
The worst is those that wait till they're 35 to buy a HDB on their own.
Yeah, I think yes. I can buy my first property now.
Yeah.
HDB property.
Well then,
Yeah.
Just for the space.
not even about the space. Like I had a customer last year, like early last year, who bought a 4-room HDB, and she doesn't even stay there. She doesn't stay there that often. Yeah, she stays there probably 3 times a week, and then she goes back to her parents' place, which is the next block, because she takes care of her parents. So it's really not about the property. A lot of them buy just to own something, but a lot of them don't know what are the other options out there. They don't know that, before they're 35. We just went for a presentation whereby the couple was asking us like, what are the requirements to buy a private property? There are literally no requirements. All you have to be is above 21. See, even this kind of simple information, I think a lot of them are not aware.
Yeah.
So hopefully the more we speak, the more we talk about, the more we spread, more people will eventually get knowledge on this.
I think that's all we have time for today.
Yeah, man.
All right. Do catch us again soon for episode 2, and we'll be in touch. Yeah, like and share if you feel this would help someone, and of course subscribe if you want to hear more from us. This is the Shakedown. My name is Sheikh Amr.